Alright, sige. So, let's now start with our first topic for medical surgical nursing. So, before mag-start or bago natin continue yung discussion natin with the mga sakit, diba? So, let's start a quick review muna ng cardiovascular system. So, at the end of this topic, so dapat ma-review, maalala natin, diba, yung mga pinag-aralan sa anatomy and physiology. How does your heart work? Paano ba siya nagpapump? Diba, yung blood circulation natin, kung paano ba siya gumagana or paano ba nagsisirculate yung blood natin. Okay, so let's start. Sabi natin, when we say cardiovascular system, ano daw ba yung system or ano yung ang papasok sa isip natin? So that would be your heart. So sabi natin, ano daw ba yung ginagawa ng heart natin? So sabi, di ba, usually people say, when we say heart, ano daw yun? Love, agad ang papasok sa isip. Di ba? Di ba, sasabihin nyo pa nga, di ba, I love you with all of my heart. Di ba? Yung sinasabi nyo sa mga jowa ninyo, di ba? Yan, di ba? Pero ito mukhang hindi siya in love, mukhang na broken hearted yung picture natin. Di ba? Pero sabi natin, di ba, heart has nothing to do with love and emotion. So, kung wala siyang kinalaman sa ating sa love or sa emotion natin, di ba? So, paano mong sinasabi na I love you with all of my heart, di ba? So, kasi, di ba, sabi natin, the system that is responsible for your behavioral and emotional response would be the limbic system, di ba? So, kaya dapat, di ba, hindi sinasabi I love you with all of my heart, scam yun. So, dapat daw, ano daw, I love you with all of my limbic system. Kasi, yun yung part ng katawan natin who is responsible for our emotional response. Diba? Kung in love tayo, galit tayo, diba? Yun yung system na gumagana sa atin. Okay? Sige. So, sabi natin, the heart is a cone-shaped hollow muscular organ, which is saan daw siya nakikita? Diba? Nakikita siya in the center of our thorax. Diba? Between our lungs and sa taas ng diaphragm natin. So, ang tawag doon sa part which is naka-locate yung ating heart is our mediastinum. So, sa gitna po between the lungs. And, sabi natin, di ba, yung lungs, mas malaki. Or, in terms of the lobe, di ba, yung left lung natin, di ba, 2 lobes lang siya. Kasi mas naka-incline dun sa left side natin yung heart. Kaya, medyo mas malaki yung space na ino-occupy niya doon. And our heart is approximately 300 grams. And also, the size of our heart is approximately kung gaano kalaki yung face natin, yung kamao. So, mas maliit yung kamao, mas maliit yung heart, mas malaki yung heart natin. And our heart pumps about 60 ml of blood per beat. So, sa isang tibok niya, ang pinapump niya is 60 ml. Or roughly 5 liters per minute ang kanyang pinapump. So, sabi natin, ano daw ang ginagawa ng heart natin? So, sabi natin, the heart pumps blood throughout our body. So, paano? Diba? As part of circulatory system, diba? It is meron niya mga network of arteries and veins. Where arteries, doon po nagpo-flow yung ating tinatawag na oxygenated blood. While in veins, doon yung mga deoxygenated blood. So, ano pa daw? Ang ginagawa daw ng heart, it supplies oxygen and nutrients dun sa body tissues natin or sa cell, which is yun yung kailangan ng cell natin, ng katawan natin, para mag-function siya, yun yung pagkain niya, doon siya kumukuha ng nutrients. So, meaning, if there is problem with oxygenation, di ba, maapektuhan po yung mga body tissues natin or organs natin. Also, heart is responsible in removing the carbon dioxide and other toxins, di ba? Through our excretory system. Di ba yung carbon dioxide, paano ba siya na-excrete? Yes?
Ginagawa din po ng heart na magmahal.
Hindi nga. Di ba sabi natin, di ba kagaya kanina sabi ko, yung heart, hindi siya, wala siyang kinalaman sa pagmamahal. Di ba yung limbic system, siya yung responsible for our emotional response. Ikaw, Prince, niloloko mo ko ah. Mukhang in love si Prince.
Sir, di po ako yun.
Sino ba yung salita? Ay, naku po. May nanggugulo pala doon. Papaloy ko yan si Sir William. Sabihin mo, magklase na siya. Kaya may commercial tayo. Binanggugulo. Sige. Ano sa tuloy ako? Nawala tuloy ako. Okay, so going back, so sabi nga natin, di ba? The heart is kasama din siya o paano ba in-excrete yung carbon dioxide. Di ba? Sabi natin yung lungs yung heart natin nagwo-work yan together with our lungs. Di ba? Si lungs siya yung magi-inhale nung doon pumapasok yung oxygen, di ba? Where the blood is oxygenated. And then doon din po i-excrete yung carbon dioxide. Other toxins is tinutulong siya excrete to our mailabas sa katawan through our excretory system doon sa renal natin. Okay? So, in picture na nakikita natin, this is showing kung paano ba nagpo-flow yung blood, di ba? Kung paano nagiging oxygenated yung blood from the oxygenated blood that is running through our veins, di ba? So, saan siya nanggagaling? So, we have the saan na to? Saan yung aking pointer? Ayan. So, we have the ayan. So, sabi natin, di ba, yung heart natin, meron tayong tinatawag na superior vena cava and inferior vena cava. Where superior vena cava collects blood in the upper part of our body, while the inferior vena cava collects the oxygenated blood from the lower part of our body. And from there, from superior and inferior vena cava, those blood will be flowing dito sa ating tinatawag na right atrium. Diba? And then sa right atrium, diba, ipapump na yung blood papunta sa right ventricle through our tricuspid valve. Diba? Doon siya dumadaan. And then from right ventricle, ipapump na yung blood papunta sa ating pulmonary artery. Ito yung color blue na to. So, pulmonary artery. So, mag-enter siya through, anong valve na naman yung dadaan niya? We have what we call the pulmonic valve. And then, papasok siya dyan through the left and right pulmonary artery, papunta po dun sa lungs natin, where the gas exchange will happen. So, sabi natin, yung the oxygenated blood na pumasok dun sa pulmonary artery, pumunta sa lungs, i-oxygenate siya ng lungs, lalagyan ng oxygen. Diba? And tandaan din po, please take note that the pulmonary artery is siya ang nag-iisang artery where the oxygenated blood is nagpo-flow. So usually kasi 'di ba pag arteries, oxygenated blood dapat yung nagpo-flow diyan. Then so once it's oxygenated, babalik 'yan, 'di ba? Oxygenate dun sa lungs, babalik 'yan papunta dun sa pulmonary veins natin. And si pulmonary vein siya naman ang nag-iisang vein na ang nagpo-flow ay oxygenated blood. And then from your pulmonary vein, the blood will enter dun sa left atrium natin. And then from the left atrium, ano daw yun? Ipapump naman niya papunta sa left ventricle through our bicuspid valve or mitral valve natin. And si left ventricle, which is the strongest chamber or the strongest muscle of the heart, which is siya po ang responsible to pump blood through our aorta to the different parts of the body. So, siya sa pinakamalakas na nagpapump. Kasi, pag mahina yan, paano magpa-flow yung blood sa different parts of our body? So, from left ventricle, ipapump na yung blood papunta sa aorta through your aortic valve and to the different parts of your body. Nasundan po? Nasundan. Sige. So, kung nasundan natin, himay-himayin natin para mas madali inyong maintindihan. So, let's start with the 4 chambers. Diba sabi natin, our heart has 4 chambers. We have the right atrium. Sabi nga natin kanina, right atrium receive the blood from the veins and it pumps the blood through papunta dun sa right ventricle natin. So, that's the right artery. And then the right ventricle receives blood from the right atrium and it pumps the blood to the lungs. Sabi natin, which dun siya maloloadan ng oxygen. So, ayan. So, right ventricle. Then, sa kabila, we have the left atrium na nag-receive ng oxygenated blood galing dun sa lungs natin. And then, papump niya sa left ventricle. So, sabi ko nga this is the strongest chamber. Sabi natin, it pumps oxygen-rich blood to the rest of the body. So, yan po ang ating chambers of the heart. Naalala, na-recall yung mga tinuro sa anatomy and physiology. Naalala. Sige. So, let's now move with the heart valve. So, ano ba yung ginagawa ng heart valves na yan? Bakit ba kailangan ng heart valve? Sabi natin, the heart valves or the valves keep the blood moving through the heart in the right direction. Diba? Diba? Kaya nga meron tayong step by step, meron siyang chamber na sinusunod. And ano yung trabaho niya? So, bukod sa tinutulungan niya yung blood na mag-flow sa tamang direction, ano pa daw, hino-hold din niya or pine-prevent niya na bumalik or mag-backflow yung blood. So, meaning, if the blood is nandun sa right atrium natin, and na-pump na siya dun sa right ventricle, hindi na dapat babalik sa right atrium. Dapat magko-close na yung valve para hindi na mag-flow, hindi na magba-backflow, hindi babalik doon. Diba? So, dapat continue siya. And sabi natin, the valves are cups or cast or flaps or leaflet na nag-act daw as inlet, diba? Yun siya yung pasukan, daanan, or gate, diba? Para makapasok at hindi na magbabalik yung blood kung saan siya nang galing. And tandaan daw po, all valves have 3 flaps except for the bicuspid or yung mitral valve natin. Sige, isa natin. So, sabi natin, sa valves, meron tayong dalawang klase. So, we have what we call the atrioventricular valves or the cuspid valve. So, sino yung atrioventricular valve? So, that is your tricuspid valve na nasa right side, diba? And your bicuspid valve na nasa left. So, ang tawag sa kanila na atrioventricular valves. Okay? So, meron naman tayong tinatawag na semilunar valve. So, sino naman si semilunar valve? So, semilunar valves, nasa right si pulmonic valve. And sa left naman is your aortic valve. So, sila po yung semilunar valves natin. So, ito yung mga valves. So, meron tayong 4 chambers. Meron din tayong 4 valves. So, sabi ko kanina, paano nagbo-flow yung blood. Diba? So, ito is a diagram where, sabi yan, superior vena cava, inferior vena cava, says together with your coronary sinuses, yung mga small vessels yan. Diba, nakukolect niya yung blood through the right, papunta sa right atrium, through the tricuspid valve going to right ventricle, pulmonary valve going to your lungs. And it will oxygenate, and those oxygenated blood will be now pumped papunta sa pulmonary vein through the left atrium, through our bicuspid valve, then to the left ventricle, and to the aorta, and to the different parts of our body. So, ito rin siya, para ma-visualize nyo. Diba? Right. Ayan. Nakita nyo yung blue. Basta tandaan, pag blue siya yung mga deoxygenated blood. Basta red, yan na yung oxygenated blood natin. Okay, let's now move with the cardiac cycle. Ano ba yung cardiac cycle? So, sabi natin, cardiac cycle is composed of both the systole and the diastole. Ano naman yung cardiac cycle? Sabi natin, it refers to the event that occurs in the heart from one beat to the next. So, kada tibok ng puso. So, isang tibok, ang tawag natin dyan is isang cardiac cycle. Diba? So, paano siya? So, sequence siya. Diba? Kasi continuously nagbibit yung heart natin. Where what we call the systole, this is the contraction, yung pagtibok na ganyan. So, if the heart contracts, what will happen? Diba? I-empty niya yung blood kung nasaan siya. Diba? So, kaya tinatawag natin, systole, this is the contraction or emptying. While the diastole, this is the relaxation. So, pag nag-relax yung heart, papasok ngayon yung blood. So, the blood will be feeling kung ano yung chamber ng heart na nandoon siya. So, kasi diastole, tandaan, is the relaxation or feeling of the blood dun sa ating heart. Okay, let's now move with the layers. So, our heart has ilang layers yan? So, we call the epicardium, the myocardium, the endocardium. Where epicardium, this is the outer layer of your heart. The myocardium is the middle layer or the muscle layer of your heart. While the endocardium, siya naman yung nasa loob or the inner layer of your heart. And meron pa tayong tinatawag na pericardium. So, sa pericardium naman, siya yung para siyang plastic na nakabalot dun sa heart natin. Where meron tayong tinatawag din na serous pericardium, visceral pericardium, pericardial cavity, and parietal pericardium. So, sa pericardial cavity, this is the space where meron tayong pericardial fluids. Pero, siyempre, konti lang yung fluids na yan. So, it helps yung pericardium na, ilubricate yung heart para during contraction niya or pag nagpapump siya, hindi siya gagasgas. And the serous fibrous pericardium, ito naman, tumutulong naman yung paano maging stretchable yung heart natin or yung mismo space na yan. Okay? So, ito discuss natin kanina. Okay, so pericardium, sabi ko nga kanina, siya daw yung covering. So, para siyang plastic ng heart. So, ano ba yung ginagawa niya? Di ba? Tinutulungan niya, sabi na ma-contain yung heart sa chest wall para hindi siya ma-dislodge. Andun lang siya. So, kumbaga, nagpo-protect siya. Ano pa daw? It provide lubrication to your heart. Also, prevent it from infection and malignancy. So, siya yung protective covering. So, siya yung unang magbabati para hindi magkaroon ng infection, di ba, dun sa heart natin. And ano pa daw? Sabi natin, tinutulungan din niya or keep your heart from over-expanding. So, ibig sabihin, para hindi sobrang mag-relax, mag-expand yung heart natin. So, tinutulungan niya maging efficient or effective yung pag-pump ng heart natin, which para yung blood na ipapump niya is maging enough para sa katawan natin. So, ito siya yung color blue na yan. Diba? Nakapaikot siya. Okay, next would be ano tong mga nakita niyan? The coronary arteries. Diba sabi natin, our organs, our tissue need oxygenated blood for nutrients. So, since heart is an organ, so kailangan din niya ng nutrients. So, paano niya sinusuplayan yung sarili niya ng blood? So, meron tayong tinatawag na coronary arteries. So, ano naman yung significance? Bakit kailangan natin maintindihan yung coronary arteries? Kasi si coronary artery, sabi nga natin, dyan nagpo-flow yung needed oxygenated blood ng ating heart para mag-function siya, para meron siyang nutrients. So, ano nangyayari? So, we have the right and left coronary artery. So, let's start with the right coronary artery. So, your right coronary artery is magbabranch out siya papunta sa, posterior descending artery. So, iba, pag sinabing posterior, likod. So, ibig sabihin, papunta dun sa likod ng heart, pababa, descending, so pababa. Then, may branch out din siya sa right marginal artery. So, right marginal, pakanan naman, across. So, ibig sabihin, ito yung side or part of your heart na sinusuplayan niya. So, ano mangyayari? Halimbawa, itong right marginal artery, nagbara. Nakikita po yung direction nung ugat natin kung saan papunta. Yan. Halimbawa, nagbara yan. So, pag nagbara yan, so, etong part na to, yung mahaharangan, mawawala ng blood supply. So, pag nawala ng blood supply, anong mangyayari? So, the heart muscle na sinusupply ng artery na yan, mamamatay. So, yun po yung tinatawag natin na atake. Diba? Heart attack. Kasi, nawala ng blood supply o yung matinawag natin na myocardial infarction. O, same goes with your left coronary artery. So, sa left coronary artery, sabi natin, it will branch out to left anterior descending. So, left anterior. Anterior is harapan. So, papunta yan sa harap ng puso, pababa, kasi descending. Diba? And then, meron tayong left circumflex artery, paikot po siya. And then, meron pa tayong left marginal arteries and diagonal branches. So, marami siyang branch. So, tandaan, in coronary arteries, kung saan yung nagbara, yun yung maapektuhan. Paano? Halimbawa, itong left coronary artery yung mabarahan. Nagbara siya dito. Left coronary artery. So, anong part ng heart ninyo yung mawawala ng oxygen? So, that would be your left atrium and your left ventricle. O nawala ng blood supply, ano mangyari? Mamamatay ngayon yung heart muscle. So pag namatay yung heart muscle ng left ventricle, ano mangyayari? Magpapump pa ba yung heart? No. So hindi na siya magpapump, wala na ngayon magsusupply ng dugo sa sa bawat part ng katawan ng tao. Gets po? May question? Wala. Sige. So, ito po yung diniscuss ko kanina. So, mas nauna kasi ako sa PowerPoint, ano? Yan. So, you can go back. So, pag sinend ko para mas so, para mas maintindihan nyo further, so, meron akong video presentation. So, yung mag-discuss, hihimayin niya through drawing kung paano ba umiikot ulit yung artery para mas maintindihan po natin.
Hello, in this video, we're going to talk about the coronary vessels, the blood supply to the heart. So here we have a diagram of the heart. Here is the right atrium, the right ventricle, the left atrium, and the left ventricle. The heart is a muscular pump which requires energy and oxygen in order for it to function properly. The blood supply to the heart comes from the arteries. And these arteries are the coronary arteries which come off the ascending aorta. There are two main branches, the right coronary artery and the left coronary artery. The left coronary artery further has two other big main branches called the left anterior interventricular artery, also known as the left anterior descending artery, and then the left circumflex artery. The right coronary artery in the front here gives off a branch called the right marginal artery. So again, this is the anterior view of the heart. Let's look at the posterior view of the heart. So here I'm drawing the left circumflex artery, which is wrapping around the left side of the heart. On the other side, on the right coronary artery is wrapping around the right. And the right coronary artery gives off the branch called the posterior interventricular artery. Just to complete this diagram, here you have your right atrium and your right ventricle. Now, because the heart has its own blood supply, it obviously has to have its own venous drainage. And so these are the coronary veins, which actually drain into the right atrium through what's called the coronary sinus. So the coronary sinus drains into the right atrium. The coronary veins are not very important to remember, but it's easy. The small cardiac vein is on the right side, then you have the middle cardiac vein here, and your great cardiac vein, which actually wraps around to the left anterior part of the heart. There's also a small branch here called the posterior vein. So that was the anterior view and the posterior view of the coronary vessels. Let us now cut a cross-section of the heart here and look at where the coronary arteries come off the aorta and also where the coronary sinus drains into the right atrium. So here we have a cross-section of the area. Here is the anterior, the front part of the heart, and the posterior, the back of the heart. Here you have your right atrium and your left atrium, just to show where we are. Here is the coronary sinus, where the veins drain into, and it will drain into the right atrium. Of course, your atrium, your right and left, have the valves. In the right atrium, you have your tricuspid valve. In your left, you have your mitral valve. And in front of these, you have your other valves, the pulmonary valve and the aortic valve. After the aortic valve, at the ascending aorta, you have the two branches of the coronary arteries. The right coronary artery coming off the right side, and then the left coronary artery, which further divides into the left circumflex artery and the left anterior interventricular artery. I now want to focus only on the coronary arteries. So here I'm drawing the aorta, and here you have the coronary arteries branching off after the valve. You have your right coronary artery in the front, and then coming off it, the right marginal artery. You have your left coronary artery, and then your left circumflex artery, And also coming off the left coronary artery is your anterior interventricular artery, also known as your anterior descending artery. Now, if we focus on the right coronary artery, remember it wraps around the right side of the heart, and it will give off a branch called the posterior interventricular artery. Your left circumflex artery wraps around your left side of the heart, and actually it will give off a branch called the left marginal artery. So how do the coronary arteries give oxygen to the heart muscle cells? In order to understand this concept, we have to learn about the two important phases of the heart, which are systole and diastole. So in systole, what happens is the ventricles are contracting, ejecting blood out of the heart. So in systole, your aortic valve is open, and you can imagine the heart is ejecting blood out. It is actually in diastole, when the aortic valves are closed, the blood will actually come down slightly, and this is the period where blood will flow down through the coronary arteries and then supply the heart muscle with blood, with oxygen for energy. I hope that concept made sense.
Ayan. So, sabi, di ba, yung heart natin, di ba, sinusuplayan siya ng blood through our coronary artery. And paano daw? So, sabi, di ba, sabi natin kanina, systole, this is the contraction. So, pag nag-contract siya, mag-e-enter ngayon yung blood dun sa ating aorta. And during diastole, pag nag-relax na, dun bababa yung blood para masuplayan po yung ating coronary artery. Gets po? Okay, sige. Iba tayo na mag-next. Yan. So, let's know with the electrophysiologic properties of the heart. So, paano ba tumitibok yung puso natin? Diba? Sabi natin, our heart should have the automaticity. Ano yung automaticity? Sabi natin, ability to initiate an electrical impulse repeatedly and spontaneously, or tinatawag natin na rhythmicity. So, ibig sabihin, merong nagsasend ng signal automatically para magkaroon ng electrical impulse para tumibok yung puso ng isang tao. Diba? So, if ever mawala yan, diba, mag-stop na siya. Diba, sabi natin, we have two kinds of muscle. Diba? We have the voluntary and involuntary muscles. So, heart is, sample nung, ano daw? Voluntary muscle. So, tumitibok siya na pusa. Okay, ano ba daw? Excitability. Ability to respond to a stimulus by initiating a cardiac impulse. Diba? Na-excite siya. Halimbawa, bakit siya bumibilis? Ba't bumabagal yung tibok ng puso? Diba ba? Nakita mo yung tao na kinaiinisan mo. Diba? Sabi mo, layo mo sa kanya, nag-iinit yung ulo ko dyan. Diba? Makita mo, biglang bumibilis yung tibok ng puso mo. Diba? Ano pa daw? Conductibility. Ability to transmit an electrical impulse from one cell to another. Diba? Our heart is an organ. It has tissue and it has cell. Diba? Merong magsasend ng signal para mag-contract yung atrium para mag-contract din yung ventricle natin. And sabi nga natin, contractility, ability of the cardiac cell to respond to an impulse by contracting. So, kung paano siya nagko-contract, paano tumitibok yung puso. And, mayroon din na tinatawag na refractoriness. Ano daw yung refractory? Inability to respond to a new stimulus while it's still in contraction in response to a previous stimulus. Diba? Halimbawa, diba? Nakarelax ka lang, nakaupo ka lang na ganyan. Diba? Sometimes, biglang bibilis yung tibok ng puso mo. Diba? It's either your heart, nag-demand siya ulit ng oxygen. Halimbawa, tumakbo ka. Diba? From walking, nag-jogging ka. Nung naglalakad ka, ang tibok lang ng puso mo, nasa 70 beats per minute. Bigla kang tumakbo. Which, nung tumakbo ka, yung katawan mo, magre-require siya ng more oxygen. Di ba? Yung different parts ng katawan mo, kailangan niya ng oxygen. So, ang gagawin niya, kailangan niya mag-respond doon. Kailangan niya bilisan yung contraction para maibigay yung kinakailangan ng katawan natin. So, kaya kung kailangan, ba't siya bibilis? Ibig sabihin yung kailangan ng heart ng katawan natin na oxygen, tumataas din. Yan. Okay? And next is the cardiac conduction system. Sabi natin, generates and transmit electrical impulse that stimulate contraction of your myocardium. And it is represented by what we call electrocardiogram. So it is called ECG or EKG, diba? So same lang po yan. So our electrocardiogram represent yung pagtibok ng puso. And this one, kung nakikita nyo yan, yung drawing sa baba na yan, diba? Meron tayong tinatawag na P-wave. So pag sinabing P-wave, ano ba yung nire-represent niya? Diba? Yung QRS complex natin, the ST segment, the QT segment. So, ibig sabihin kasi ito, from P-wave to T-wave, that's ang isang bilang niyan, yan yung isang heartbeat. So, yan po yung nakikita natin sa ECG. Okay? So, in this session, you need to understand how ECG works. How it represent yung contraction ng heart natin. So, dito kasi, more on understanding. But, in your other subject, pagdating nyo ng 4th year, dun sa critical care nursing natin, so, di-discuss doon further yung abnormalities with ECG. Meaning, halimbawa, nawala ng P-wave. Halimbawa, yung ST segment natin, di ba dapat flat lang siya? Paano pag nag-elevate yan? Paano pag nag-depress yan, bumaba? Ano yung nire-represent na problem dun sa heart natin? But it will be discussed during your critical care nursing. So, meron kasi iba-ibang klase. Meron tayong tinatawag na sinus rhythm. That's the normal. Sinus bradycardia. Normal yung rhythm niya pero mabagal yung tibok ng puso. Sinus tachycardia. Normal yung rhythm pero mabilis yung tibok ng puso. Ventricular tachycardia. Atrial fibrillation. Ventricular fibrillation. Ano tawag ito? Sinus beta. Marami pang klase. And, pwede rin po yung asystole. Diba? So, that will be discussed on your critical care nursing. Okay. So, tandaan daw, sabi natin, sa cardiac conduction system natin, meron tayong mga tinatawag na SA node or the sinoatrial node. So, sino siya? Anong trabaho niya? Sabi dito, this is the normal pacemaker. So, yung pacemaker siya yung nagsesend ng signal para tumibok yung puso ng isang tao. Sabi ito, it trigger electrical impulse. That's why your heart beats from 60 to 100 beats per minute in a normal person. Okay, so paano yan? From sinoatrial node, magsesend siya ng signal papunta dun sa atrioventricular node, which is, sabi dito, receive impulse via intranodal tract when the atria depolarize. So, ibig sabihin, yung atrium, yung taas na part ng heart natin, pag nag-depolarize na wala ng laman, sasend niya yung signal papunta sa atrioventricular nodes natin. Going to atrioventricular branches, pababa dun sa part ng heart, di ba? Papunta dun sa tinatawag na bundle of His, and then going down pababa pa, papunta dun sa right and left branches niya, and then going to the Purkinje fibers, which is yung nasa may base or nasa may apex ng heart natin, dun sa part ng ventricle. So, siya yung magsesend, pag na-receive niya yung signal from SA node, pag nakarating dun sa Purkinje fibers, magko-contract ngayon yung ventricles natin. Nasundan po? Nasusundan ba? Nasusundan. Sige. So, eto po. Sabi ko kanina, SA node. Ito sa SA node. Nasa, diba? Nasa atria. So, pareho yan, left and right. So, pag nag-fire siya, di ba, ito yung branches niya papunta sa atrioventricular node. Then, from there, this is the bundle of His, yung conjunction ng dalawa. Dadaan yung signal dyan, pababa, to the left and right bundle branch, going to your Purkinje fibers. Ito yung nasa may apex, dun sa may heart natin. Tapos, pag nasend yung signal, magko-contract ngayon siya. Okay? So, para mas maintindihan mabuti, sige, meron ulit tayong video. And also, para maintindihan natin, paano ba siya nire-represent ng ECG natin.
The cardiac conduction system consists of the following components. The sinoatrial node, or SA node, located in the right atrium near the entrance of the superior vena cava. This is the natural pacemaker of the heart. It initiates all heartbeat and determines heart rate. Electrical impulses from the SA node spread throughout both atria and stimulate them to contract. The atrioventricular node, or AV node, located on the other side of the right atrium near the AV valve. The AV node serves as electrical gateway to the ventricles. It delays the passage of electrical impulses to the ventricles. This delay is to ensure that the atria have ejected all the blood into the ventricles before the ventricles contract. The AV node receives signals from the SA node and passes them onto the atrioventricular bundle, AV bundle, or bundle of His. This bundle is then divided into right and left bundle branches, which conduct the impulses toward the apex of the heart. The signals are then passed onto Purkinje fibers, turning upward and spreading throughout the ventricular myocardium. Electrical activities of the heart can be recorded in the form of electrocardiogram, ECG, or EKG. An ECG is a composite recording of all the action potentials produced by the nodes and the cells of the myocardium. Each wave or segment of the ECG corresponds to a certain event of the cardiac electrical cycle. When the atria are full of blood, the SA node fires, electrical signals spread throughout the atria and cause them to depolarize. This is represented by the P wave on the ECG. Atrial contraction, or atrial systole, starts about 100 milliseconds after the P wave begins. The PQ segment represents the time the signals travel from the SA node to the AV node. The QRS complex marks the firing of the AV node and represents ventricular depolarization. Q wave corresponds to depolarization of the interventricular septum. R wave is produced by depolarization of the main mass of the ventricles. S wave represents the last phase of ventricular depolarization at the base of the heart. Atrial repolarization also occurs during this time, but the signal is obscured by the large QRS complex. The ST segment reflects the plateau in the myocardial action potential. This is when the ventricles contract and pump blood. The T wave represents ventricular repolarization immediately before ventricular relaxation, or ventricular diastole. The cycle repeats itself with every heartbeat.
Nasundan, di ba sabi, yun daw, P-wave, di ba, habang napupuno, pag napuno yung ating atria, magsisignal, magpa-fire out na yung signal, di ba? Magsi-signal na siya doon sa yung SA node, di ba? Para yung magkaroon ng signal para ngayon mag-contract siya ngayon. So pag nag-contract, pupunta doon sa bundle of His or doon sa atrioventricular branches natin, di ba? And then, di ba, doon sa QRS complex, siya yun yung feeling. And sa ST, that's the time na nag-e-empty na yung ventricle. So, meaning, halimbawa, nagkaroon ng ST elevation or ST depression. So, meaning, there is problem with the heart muscle in contraction. Diba? Sabihin, baka merong bara yung ugat. Diba? May injured yung heart ni patient, yung heart muscle. Diba? Sa P-wave naman, ibig sabihin, nawawala yung P-wave. So, ibig sabihin, may problem with the detection kung paano nag-fill in yung blood dun sa atrium ng patient natin. Nagets po? Nasundan po? Nasundan. Sige. So, let's now move with the cardiac output. Diba? Kanina pa tayo nag-uusap on how our heart contract. Siyempre, kailangan natin ng tinatawag na cardiac output, which is ito yung nilalabas or yung ini-inject ng ating left ventricle. Sabi natin, the volume of blood ejected from the left ventricle into the aorta every minute, this is the cardiac output. Sabi natin, which is a normal cardiac output ng isang tao, resting adult, 5 liters per minute siya. Pero syempre, depende yan sa metabolic need ng katawan natin. Diba? Mas kailangan oxygen, bibilis siya ngayon. So, ibig sabihin, kailangan taasan yung cardiac output. And paano ba natin makukuha yung cardiac output ng isang pasyente? So first is we need to get the heart rate. Diba? Yung beats per minute. Diba? Heart rate po yung kailangan. Diba? Pwede ba yung pulse rate ng patient? Pwede ba yung cardiac rate ng pasyente? Pwede? Yes, kasi magkamukha lang po yun. Magkamukha lang po yung heart rate, magkamukha lang po yung cardiac rate, saka yung pulse rate. So, dati ginagawa ko yun sa duty. Minsan, pag sabihin po sa estudyante, sir, ito na, nakuha ko na po yung pulse rate ng pasyente, 75 po. Sige nga ako, very good. Ano nga ako, kunin mo nga ako yung heart rate ng pasyente. Alis yung estudyante, babalik dun sa patient. Tapos mamaya-maya bumalik, nagkakamot ng ulo. Sabi ko, bakit? Sir, magkamukha lang naman yung pulse rate sa cardiac rate. Kaya nga, tinitingnan ko lang naman ako kung nag-iisip ka. Diba? So, wag malilito. Nililito lang po. Okay? Next is, ano pa yung kailangan natin? The stroke volume. Sabi na, it is the amount of blood ejected by the left ventricle in the aorta per beat. So, ibig sabihin, kada tibok ng puso, ilan yung nilalabas niya. Ilan yung nai-eject na. So, in an average, are around 70 ml kada beat yun, kada contract ng left ventricle. So, how will we compute the cardiac output? So, the stroke volume multiplied by the heart rate. So, halimbawa, 60 times 70 ml. So, ilan yun? That would be 4,200 ml per minute yung cardiac output ng pasyente. Diba? So, the more yung cardiac output na sumataas, ibig sabihin, mas mataas yung demand ng katawan. And kapag bumababa yung cardiac output, ibig sabihin may problem. Kasi kung bumababa yung cardiac output, bumababa yung stroke volume, ibig sabihin, may problema. Hindi na susupply or hindi na isusupply ng heart natin yung demand or yung kailangan ng katawan natin na oxygenated blood. Kaya hindi pwedeng bumagsak yung cardiac output ni patient. Okay, so sabi natin, stroke volume is determined by 3 factors. Ano yung mga factors na yan? Number 1 is what we call the preload. Sabi dito, the degree of the myocardial fiber stretch before contraction. Diba, sabi natin, bago mag-contract ang heart, meron tayong diastole. Magre-relax siya. So, ibig sabihin, pag nagre-relax siya, pumapasok yung blood. Ang tanong, gagano ba siya mag-i-stretch para gaano kadami yung blood na pwedeng pumasok? Kasi diba, sabi daw, according to the Frank-Starling law, diba, the more na-stretch mo siya, mas tumataas yung force. Diba, parang yung laste, yung goma, yung rubber band, diba, pag hinila mo siya, pag konti lang yung paghila mo sa kanya, pag-stretch mo sa kanya, pag pinitik mo, mahina lang. Pero pag mas mahaba, mas mahaba yung paghila mo, pag-stretch mo sa kanya, pag ipinitik mo, di ba mas masakit or mas malayo yung marami. So, ganun din sa heart. The more na mas stretch siya, mas malakas yung force na ilalabas o ipaglabas ng mismong blood. Diba? Next, ano pa daw? Contractility refers to a changes in the inotropic state of the muscle without a change in myocardial fiber length or preload. So, ibig sabihin, yung lakas ng pagtibok or pagcontract ng puso when it comes to contractility. And the last one would be the afterload. Sabi, the amount of tension the ventricle must develop during contraction to eject blood from the left ventricle to aorta. Ibig sabihin, yung afterload, siya yung tension. Diba? Kumbaga yung ginagawa natin, diba? Pag binanat mo yung laste, diba? Hold mo siya. Diba? Pag bitaw mo, diba? Mas malaki siya. Diba? Halimbawa yung tawag dito, yung sling, yung tirador, diba? The more na na-stretch mo siya, pag bitaw mo, mas malayo yung mararating ng bato. So, ganun din po dun sa stroke volume natin. Diba? Tandaan, preload, contractility, and afterload will affect or determine yung stroke volume natin kung gagano siya kadami. Okay, next is the cardiac index. So, this cardiac index is ginagamit siya, di ba? Or it is used as a indicator. So, mas accurate daw kasi to para makita natin is okay ba yung tissue perfusion. Pag sinabing tissue perfusion, yung supply ng oxygenated blood is enough ba? para dun sa katawan natin. So, pag decrease yung tissue perfusion, kulang. Diba? So, siya yung nagde-determine si cardiac index. Pero, yan. So, ano daw siya? Ang normal cardiac index is 2.4 to 4 liters per minute. So, paano daw siya kinukompute? So, cardiac index is equivalent to cardiac output divided by the body surface area. So, ito, nice to know. Hindi ko naman yan ipapa-exam sa inyo kasi usually, doktor po ang nagko-compute niyan para lang alam natin. Mamaya, tanungin ka ng doktor. Alam mo ba yung cardiac index? Diba? O, para alam naman, may idea po tayo. Diba? Sige, to discuss further yung preload, afterload.
Cardiac output is the amount of blood pumped by each ventricle in 1 minute. It is the product of stroke volume, the amount of blood pumped in one heartbeat, and heart rate, the number of beats in 1 minute. An increase in either stroke volume or heart rate results in increased cardiac output, and vice versa. For example, during physical exercises, the heart beats faster to put out more blood in response to higher demand of the body. It is noteworthy that the ventricles do not eject all the blood they contain in one beat. In a typical example, a ventricle is filled with about 100 milliliters of blood at the end of its load, but only 60 milliliters is ejected during contraction. This corresponds to an ejection fraction of 60%. The 100 milliliters is the end diastolic volume, or EDV. The 40 milliliters that remains in the ventricle after contraction is the end systolic volume, or ESV. The stroke volume equals EDV minus ESV and is dependent on 3 factors: contractility, preload, and afterload. Contractility refers to the force of the contraction of the heart muscle. The more forceful the contraction, the more blood it ejects. Preload is related to the end diastolic volume. Preload, by definition, is the degree of stretch of cardiac myocytes at the end of ventricular filling. But since this parameter is not readily measurable in patients, EDV is used instead. This is because the stretch level of the wall of a ventricle increases as it's filled with more and more blood. Just like a balloon, the more air it contains, the more stretched it is. According to the Frank-Starling mechanism, the greater the stretch, the greater the force of contraction. In the balloon analogy, the more inflated the balloon, the more forceful it releases air when deflated. Afterload, on the other hand, is the resistance that the ventricle must overcome to eject blood. Afterload includes 2 major components: vascular pressure. The pressure in the left ventricle must be greater than the systemic pressure for the aortic valve to open. Similarly, the pressure in the right ventricle must exceed pulmonary pressure to open the pulmonary valve. In hypertension, for example, higher vascular pressures make it more difficult for the valves to open, resulting in a reduced amount of ejected blood. Damage to the valves, such as stenosis, also presents higher resistance and leads to lower blood output.
Nagets na kung paano. So usually, yung stroke volume na measure yan through our electrocardiogram. Kasi doon sa electrocardiogram, yung 2D echo, yan, so ultrasound of the heart, nakikita kasi dyan kung paano nagpapump yung heart. And nakikita na may measure din nila kung gaano kadami yung binubuga or kinocontract ng left ventricle natin or tinatawag na ejection fraction. So, yun yung mini-measure dyan. Okay, next is the blood pressure. So, blood pressure, sabi natin, the left ventricle's vigorous contraction creates your blood pressure. So, meaning, yung BP natin, ang responsible dyan is si left ventricle, which is your strongest chamber, strongest muscle. So, ibig sabihin, pag sobrang taas ng pressure sa kanya, di ba? Or sobrang baba, yun yung i-represent ng ating blood pressure. So, sabi natin, we have a systolic pressure. So, indicates how much pressure your blood is exerting against your artery walls when the heart contract. Kapag nag-contract yung muscle, that's the systolic pressure. Well, the diastolic pressure, sabi natin, indicates how much pressure your blood is exerting against your artery wall while the heart is resting between contraction. Diba sabi natin, systole is the contraction, diastole is the relaxation. So, ibig sabihin, yung diastolic, kung gaano siya nag-relax. That's why, Diba sabi natin, yung pag nagtitake tayo ng BP, diba? Yung ano daw yung loudest sound. First loudest sound will be your systolic. Sabihin, that's the strongest contraction na narinig natin. And the diastolic, yun na nag-relax na mismo yung ventricle. So that's the diastolic pressure. And according to the American Heart Association, the normal blood pressure should be systolic of less than 120 and diastolic pressure of less than 80. Kapag the 120, actually 120 to 129 and less than 80, it is considered as elevated. Okay? Pag 130 to 139, 80 to 90, or 80 to 89, yung diastolic, considered as stage 1 hypertension. So, dito sa stage 1 hypertension, hindi pa naman kailangan magamot. Diba? So, pwede pa siyang, ma-modify. Pwede pa siyang mahabol or magbumalik sa normal yung blood pressure ng isang tao. Siyempre, kailangan ng lifestyle modification. So, ano yung lifestyle modification? So, kailangan ng healthy lifestyle. Kailangan mag-exercise, tumain ng mga tama, healthy foods, diba? Nung tawag dito, nutrition and dietary, diba? Tinuha ko paano mag-compute ng calories, diba? Hindi dapat sobra. Okay, next is the hypertension stage 2. Diba? Ito naman, 140 pataas na yung blood pressure ni patient or mas mataas pa dyan. Or, meron din tayo tinatawag na hypertensive crisis. If the systolic pressure is more than 180 and the systolic pressure is more than 120. So, this one, kailangan, kapag hindi siya napababa, kailangan agad dyan ng immediate consultation with a doctor. Kasi hindi pwedeng sobrang taas. Diba, pag sobrang taas ng BP, what will happen? Diba, sabi natin, ano daw yung blood pressure? The tension or the between the na binibigay dun sa artery natin. Pag sobrang taas, anong mangyayari? Diba? The artery could collapse. Pwedeng pumutok po yung artery. And, pag pumutok, that's what you call the stroke. Diba? Or yung hemorrhagic stroke natin. May question po? Nasusundan po? Ayan. Sige. So, since discuss natin yung pulse tumitibok, siyempre, importante din na intindihan natin yung normal heart sound. Kasi, if there is abnormality with the heart sound, ibig sabihin, may problema din sa puso. That's why it's very important what we understand and we know what is normal heart sound. So, sabi natin, paano ba napuproduce yung heart sound? So, we have what we call the S1. This is the closure of your atrioventricular valve. So, sino nga yung atrioventricular valves natin? That's your tricuspid and your bicuspid. So, meaning, pag nag-close siya, mapuproduce yung S1 or yung tinatawag natin na valve. Diba? How will we define o masasabi natin yung S1? Pag daw pinakanya, it is a low pitch, long, and it is best heard at the apex of the heart. Saan yung apex ng heart natin? Sa taas, sa baba? The apex of the heart is be in the sa baba. Diba? Yung patulis, yun yung apex. Diba? Sabi daw, palpate the carotid pulse while listening. Marks at the beginning of your ventricular systole. Diba? Yun yung sa kanya. While S2, this is the closure of the semi-lunar valves, your aortic valve and your pulmonic valve. So, hindi sila sabay nagsasara. Palitan silang dalawa. Kaya napuproduce yung S sound ng S2 or the dove. Ano naman sound niya? High pitch, short, di ba? Kaya lub-dub, lub-dub. Diba? Best heard at the base. So, sa taas naman siya, mas malakas mo siyang maririnig. Okay, next is the traditional areas of auscultation. Saan ba tayo nag-auscultate? Di ba may mga different areas where we auscultate the heart sound? Diba? Meron tayong tinatawag na aortic area. Where you can find aortic area, this is the second intercostal space at the right sternal border of the heart. Sa gawing kanan ng puso. Ayan, nakita? Ayan. Next is the pulmonic area. Saan naman daw siya? Second or third intercostal space left. So, si aortic nasa right, Si pulmonic, nasa left, magkatapat lang sila. Nasa left lang si pulmonic area. Next one is the Erb's point. Saan daw si Erb's point? Third intercostal space, left external border. So, sa baba lang po ng aortic pulmonic area natin. Okay, next one is the mitral valve or mitral area or apical area natin. So, it is located fifth intercostal space near left mid-clavicular line. So, sa gitna siya ng ating left lung. Okay, so ayan, nakita po. And the last one is the tricuspid area. Sabi dito, fourth or fifth intercostal left lower sternal border. So, ayan na sa may bandang pagitan na siya ng gitna. Kaya mid-clavicular, malapit na sa gitna. So, eto po siya. Ayan. So, etong Erb's point, so sa iba hindi na siya masyadong ginagamit. Kasi halos magkatabi lang sila ni pulmonic area. So, kaya yan po yung, tandaan po yung mga areas na yan. Diba? Para alam nyo kung ano yung, pag nag-auscultate kayo, pag pinapakinggan yung tibok ng puso, ma-differentiate po natin. Yan. So, para mas maintindihan, paano ba yung tunog ng puso, ito po, meron po tayong
Hello and welcome back. My name is Dr. Coleman, and in this tutorial we're covering heart sounds. So let's get straight down to business. Heart sounds are usually presented in medical notes in an abbreviated form, and they're presented as S1, S2 and S1 again. The gap between S1 and S2 is known as systole, and this represents the period of time when the heart contracts. The space between S2 and S1 is known as diastole, and this represents the period of time when the heart relaxes. This diagram is really useful because it depicts one movement through the cardiac cycle and frames heart sounds temporally in relation to whether they occur during, before or after heart contraction or relaxation. Let's take a closer look at the S1 and S2 heart sound. The S1 heart sound is usually described as sounding like the word lub, and the S2 heart sound, dub. Let's put the heart sounds in so you can appreciate this better. Let's now take a closer look at what causes the S1 and S2 heart sounds. The S1 heart sound occurs when the tricuspid and mitral valves close simultaneously. This is followed by ventricular contraction, otherwise known as systole, and this forces blood through the pulmonary and aortic valves. And the S2 heart sound occurs when the pulmonary and aortic valves close. A period of heart muscle relaxation then occurs, and this is known as diastole, after which the cardiac cycle starts all over again. Let's now add in the heart sounds with this animation. The four heart valves and their respective heart sounds can be auscultated in the following anatomical areas.
Ayan. So, narinig. So, sabi ko nga, depende kung saan mo siya papakinggan, mag-iiba din yung saan siya mas malakas. So, ito yung mga area o ma-differentiate natin yung area.
Normal variations in S1 include differences in intensity of the S1 heart sound when compared to S2 at different auscultation points. At the base of the heart, S1 is softer than S2, whereas at the apex, S1 is usually louder than S2. S1 at the base, S1 at the apex, base, apex.
Nakita nyo yung different sound niya depende mo sa pam. That's why it's very important that we understand and we know the areas of auscultation. Kasi kung saan ka nag-auscultate, magbabago yung sound niya. Diba? Kaya mamaya mamali tayo ng pag-interpret. Okay, may question so far? May kasama pa ba ako? Nandyan pa kayo, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ayan, meron pa namang 5 out of 40 na estudyante. Ayan, naging 10 na sila, may nagising na. Okay, so since we are done with the regular or with the normal, di ba, pathophysiology of your heart, let's now start talking about heart valve problems. So, di ba, sabi natin, ano daw trabaho ng heart valve? So, it prevent na mag-backflow yung blood kung saan siya nanggaling. So, it helps blood para mag-flow siya kung saan dapat yung direction niya sa normal na tao. So, the first problem is what we call the mitral valve prolapse. So, what is happening on mitral valve prolapse? So, it is also called a Shore-Barlow syndrome. So, what happened is, ang nangyayari, sabi dito, this type of heart valve disease in which flaps of the mitral valve become enlarged and or stretched. So, ibig sabihin, lumolobo yung mitral valve. So, ano nangyayari kung lumolobo siya? So, pag lobo niya, nagkakaroon ng gap dun sa opening and closing. So, kung lumolobo siya, ano nangyayari? May space. So, pwedeng mag-backflow yung blood kapag nagbabulge siya. So, ito, makita sa picture, ito, di ba dapat hindi naman siya magbabulge na ganyan. So, ang nangyayari, yung blood sa left ventricle na dapat sa aorta lang pupunta, may bumabalik dun sa left atrium ni patient. Okay? Next is what we call the regurgitation. When we say regurgitation, this is the, the valve flaps don't close properly. So, hindi siya nagsasara. Di ba? Kagaya sa mitral valve prolapse, nagkakaroon ng problem. So, ano nangyari? Bumabalik, nagli-leak backward yung dugo dun sa heart ni patient. So, ito siya. So, hindi siya nagsara, bumalik. Di ba? From the ventricles, bumabalik dun sa atrium ni patient na dapat hindi siya dun bumalik. So, that's your regurgitation.
The mitral valve is located between the upper left heart chamber, left atrium, and the lower left heart chamber, left ventricle. A healthy mitral valve keeps your blood moving in the right direction. A leaky valve doesn't close the way it should, allowing some blood to flow backward into the left atrium. If left untreated, a leaky valve could lead to heart failure.
So, ayun. So, di ba, bumabalik ba siya? And, pag hindi na-treat, pagkakaroon ng heart failure si patient. Next is stenosis. Ano naman yung stenosis? So, stenosis, as described as definition, sabi dito, the valve flaps become thick and stiff. And they may fuse to, so pwedeng kumakapal, naninigas, and pwede rin sila magdikit. So, ano mangyayari kung ganun nangyayari? So, sabi, it will result in the narrowing of the valve. Yung pagbukas niya, masikip ngayon. Maliit yung opening. So, kung maliit, masikip, ano mangyayari? Di ba, reduce yung blood flow. So, yung pag-pass through ng dugo, kaunti. Di ba? Hindi siya makaka-flow ng maayos. So, this is sample, ito itsura nung ating aortic valve stenosis natin.
Stenosis is the term for a valve that doesn't open properly. Here we see a cross-section of a normal heart from the side and a close-up view of the valve looking down from the top. When the valve is working properly, it opens fully to allow all the needed blood to flow through. In problems like aortic stenosis, the valve doesn't open all the way, so less blood flows through the valve, and the body has a reduced supply of oxygenated blood. Stenosis can be caused by age, or by a malformed valve called a bicuspid valve, where two flaps are fused together, which is present in 2% of the population.
Yung stenosis, di ba, through age siya. And napakaswerte, mabihira naman yung around 2% na nagkakaroon niya. Next is atresia. Narinig na yan, yung term na yan. Alala pa sa maternal and child, di ba? Meron tayo usually sa bata. Di ba? So, ano ba yung atresia? Sabi natin, the valve isn't formed in a solid sheet of tissue blocks the blood flow between the heart chambers. So, ibig sabihin, nagkaroon ng problem. Hindi na form. So, makita mo sa picture, di ba? Kaya dito, atrial septal defect. So what happened? Dito yung atrium, di ba dapat meron siyang division. Ihati sila, yung right and left. Sa kanya, doon nagkaroon ng opening. So ngayon, instead na yung right atrium, pupunta yung blood papunta doon sa right ventricle, sarado yung valve doon, hindi na form. So hindi siya ngayon mag-flow. So ineffective. So kadalasan, mga bata po yan. So kung maalala nyo po sa pediatric nursing nyo, yung tetralogy of Fallot, ganyan po siya, 3. Diba? Atrial ventricular septal defect, tricuspid valve is not formed, diba? O ventricular septal defect natin. Okay? So what are the risk factors para dyan sa mga heart valve problems natin? So sabi natin, there are some factors. So number 1, kadalasan is birth defects o pinanganak sila na meron ng mga heart condition or congenital heart disease. Okay? Pwede rin through old age, diba? Age-related yung changes na yan. Diba? Sabi nga kanina, usually pag matatanda na. Diba daw? Those patients who have certain history of infection, diba? Sa heart. Yan, pwede po yan. Or any heart disease or nagkaroon na ba ng heart attack yung patient natin. Also, it can be a risk factor also patient na merong high blood pressure, di ba? Kasi sa taas, di ba? Pwedeng pumutok, di ba? Sa taas ng pressure, di ba? Yung mga valves, di ba? Pwede rin siya mag-collapse or magkaroon ng prolapse. Di ba? High cholesterol, di ba? Kasi, di ba? Nagpo-form yan ng plaque, nagiging barayan. And diabetes, di ba? Lumalapot yung dugo pag tumataas yung sugar. And other heart diseases pa na pwede sa patient. So, what will be the complications? Di ba? Patient may have, ano daw? Heart failure kapag hindi siya na-treat. Diba? Yung blood clots, diba? Lalo na yun sa mga merong mataas na cholesterol. Pwedeng ma-stroke yung pasyente, magkaroon ng heart rhythm abnormalities, maging irregular yung heartbeat ng pasyente. And worst comes to worst, patient may die because of heart valve problems. Alright, may question po? Meron po ba? Wala. And that's for our introduction. So, part 1 pa lang po yan ng ating discussion.